Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we will be starting with formal introduction of Java programming language. These are the items that we will be covering in this tutorial, where we have introduction, types of application, Java platforms, a brief history of Java versions, object-oriented programming concepts, and then we will have a hands-on experience as well for a Java program without using IDE. Then we will have a complete explanation of that code. And in the end, we will discuss in brief about JVM, JRE, and JDK. So without any further delay, let's start. Java is a programming language and a runtime environment. It is a high-level programming language which is robust, object-oriented, and secure. The types of applications. Java can be used to create various type of applications. There are billions of devices running on Java. So various types of applications which are being developed using Java are standalone applications. These are mainly desktop applications where the code needs to be installed on a separate desktop. Second one is web applications. These applications runs on server side and create dynamic content using servlet, JSP, and Spring type of technologies. Then in addition to these two, we have mobile applications where mobile apps can be created using Java. We have embedded systems where Java can be used to interact with the hardware and their functioning. And also games can be created using Java. So what are the Java platforms and editions? Mainly there are two main Java editions. First one is Java Standard Edition. It includes Java programming APIs such as java.lang, java.io, util, etc. It includes core topics like object-oriented programming, string, regular expressions, exceptions, multi-threading, collections, etc. The second mainly used edition is Java Enterprise Edition, which is also known as Java EE. It's an enterprise platform which is mainly used to develop web and enterprise applications. It is built on top of Java SE. That means all the features which are there in Java SE will be there in Java EE. And additionally, it will have topics like servlets, JSP, web services, etc., which will be helpful for enterprise application or web application development. So if we talk about when the first stable Java version was released, it was year 1996. So it's been more than 25 years now. And if you see currently, by September 2021, we were having Java 17 version available on the Oracle official website. Next is object-oriented programming. So this is the main core concept on which Java is currently working. So Java is an object-oriented programming, and the main aim of object-oriented programming is to implement real-world entities. But if we think like, is Java really 100% object-oriented programming? Answer to that is no. The fact that Java still support the primitive data types like int, long, boolean, character, so that makes Java not being 100% object oriented. That means some part of Java is still not object oriented. So object oriented programming is a methodology or paradigm to design a program using classes and objects. It simplifies software development and maintenance by providing some main concepts. Those concepts we will be discussing here. First one is object. So any entity that has a state and behavior is known as object. An object can be defined as an instance of class. An object contains an address and it takes space in the memory. That means the data and state will be stored inside the memory. What is class? Class, we can say, is a collection of objects, or it's a logical entity. A class can also be defined as a blueprint from which you can create the individual objects. It's like we have suppose a class dog, then we will create objects out of that blueprint class, which is dog. So class does not consume any space because class does not have any variables or state of its own, because those things are only related to the objects. So class does not consume any space. Next is inheritance. When one object acquires all the properties and behavior of a parent object, it is known as inheritance. It provides code reusability. Polymorphism. If one task is performed in different ways, it is known as polymorphism. In Java, we use method overloading and method overriding to achieve runtime and compile time polymorphism. We will discuss these terms or these components in our future tutorials as well. The next concept is abstraction. As it is clear from the name, hiding the internal detail and showing functionality only is known as abstraction. For example, you have a mobile phone. You don't know how internally it works or process the data, but you know how to use it because they have hidden the internal details and only expose the functionality. So in Java, we use abstract classes, interfaces to achieve abstraction. The last concept that we'll be discussing under this section is encapsulation. The process of wrapping code and the data together into a single unit are known as encapsulation. A Java class is an example of encapsulation as it binds together various properties of the class and their behavior. Now, for the hands-on experience part, we will be writing our Java class using notepad and executing and compiling and executing the same class using command prompts. We will not be using any integrated development environment like Eclipse, NetBeans or IntelliJ. So for that, you need to open command prompt, and there you have to type notepad and your class name. So this means it will open a notepad. If already my first class.java present in this location, it will open that. Otherwise, it will ask you to create a new one. So as of now, currently it was not there. So I will click on yes. And for quick action, I have already copied the code. So this will be my code. This is a normal class where we have class name my first class, which is having one method called main, and that method is only having one statement which will print first program without IDE to the console. So now I will do Control S to save it. Now close the notepad, and now we have my first class already available in this location. Now how to compile this specific code? We will use java c command and provide my first class.java as an argument and hit on enter. If there is no error, it will not show you anything. But if you see in your same directory, a class file will be created. So you can see my first class.class file is already created. Now how to execute this command, this class? So for that we need to type in java my first class. You just need to mention the class name. Do not mention any extensions after that. Press enter and this is your output. First program without IDE. This is how you can write, compile and execute your Java programs using command prompt and notepad. This specific approach is not good for bigger projects because there you will have multiple class files, you will have many libraries to manage. So it is really hard to manage all those things on a command prompt. So for those larger projects, you can use integrated development environments like Eclipse, IntelliJ or NetBeans. Now let's see what all components were present in the Java program which we have created. So the first keyword we can see is a class. So this keyword is used to specify that the upcoming component will be a class. Second is my first class. So it is an identifier which identifies that the class name will be my first class. Then we have opening parenthesis. Inside that we have the first method starting with public. Public specifies the access of this specific method. If it is public, then it is accessible from outside the class as well. But if it's not public or private, then only this class will be able to access this method. No outer class will be able to access this method. Next is static. This is also a keyword which will tell us that this specific method is of type static. So there can be two types of methods. One is static and other one is non-static. We will discuss about these components in detail in our upcoming sessions also. The third component is void. This represents the return type of this specific main method. So if it is void, that means this main method will not return anything. Main. This is the name of the actual method. It can be anything, but in this case, the method name was main. And main method, we will discuss like why this method is very important in case of Java after we have explained the complete program. Next is string, array and args. So this is a parameter which is of type string and it's an array. So these are the arguments which can be passed to a Java program while we are executing it. And in the end, we have this system out println statement which will do first program without IDE print on your console. So this is how program is structured. Then we have closing parenthesis of method first and then class. So as I was saying, the main method, why it is so important in Java. Main method acts as an entry point for execution of class in Java. JVM will always look for a main method whenever you try to run a particular class. So suppose this class does not have a main method and I try to run this class after compilation, then it will not be able to run because JVM will throw me an exception that main method does not exist or it's not able to find the main method. So that is the reason main method is very important in Java when running a Java class. So with this, we have come to the last topic for today's video, that is JDK, JRE and JVM. So what is JVM? JVM is Java Virtual Machine. It is an abstract machine. It is called virtual machine because it does not physically exist. It is a specification that provides a runtime environment in which Java bytecode can be executed. It can also run those programs which are written in other languages and compiled to Java bytecode. Next is JRE. So it is just acronym for Java Runtime Environment. So Java Runtime Environment is a set of software tools which are used for developing Java applications. It is used to provide the actual runtime environment so that the bytecode which is available that can be executed. It is the implementation of JVM as JVM is only a specification. It physically exists and it contains set of libraries and other files that JVM uses at runtime. Last but not the least, JDK. It is an acronym for Java Development Kit. The Java Development Kit is a software development environment which is used to develop Java applications. It physically exists and it contains all the components of JRE plus the development tools. It contains Java compiler as well that we have just recently used. So that is part of JDK. Now, that will be all in this video. In our next videos, we will cover the syntax and various other components which are used in Java. Please subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon to get all the updates on new video tutorials. Thank you very much and have a fantastic day.